The vast expanse of space had always beckoned humanity, promising adventure and discovery. But on that fateful day, as the massive alien ship descended from the clouds above New York City, adventure quickly turned to terror. The Zirconian Empire had arrived, and Earth would never be the same. Commander Laura Zong stood atop the United Nations building, her eyes fixed on the looming spacecraft. Its sleek, obsidian surface reflected the panicked city below, a dark mirror of humanity's worst fears. As Earth's newly appointed ambassador to the alien visitors, Laura felt the weight of billions of lives on her shoulders. "They're hailing us," her aide Marcus reported, his voice trembling slightly. "What should we do, Commander?" Lyra took a deep breath, steeling herself for what was to come. "Open the channel. Let's hear what they have to say." The air crackled with static before a deep, resonant voice filled the makeshift command center. "Humans of Earth, we are the Zirconian Empire. Your planet is now under our protection and rule. Resistance is futile and will be met with swift punishment. Submit, and you may yet survive." Laura's jaw clenched. This was not the first contact humanity had dreamed of. "This is Commander Lyra Zong of Earth. We do not submit to threats. We request peaceful dialogue and—" The voice cut her off. "Your request is denied, human. You have one planetary rotation to surrender your leaders and military command. Failure to comply will result in demonstrations of our power." The transmission ended abruptly, leaving a heavy silence in its wake. Marcus turned to Lyra, his eyes wide with fear. "What do we do now?" Lyra's mind raced through scenarios, each more dire than the last. But giving up was not an option. "We fight," she said firmly. "Humanity has faced extinction-level threats before. We've survived ice ages, plagues, and our own destructive nature. We'll survive this too." As the hours ticked by, governments around the world scrambled to respond. Military forces were mobilized, civilians were evacuated from major cities, and a global state of emergency was declared. But against the advanced technology of the Zirconians, Earth's defenses seemed pitiful. In a secret bunker beneath the Rocky Mountains, Lyra met with a team of Earth's brightest minds. Dr. Aisha Patel, a renowned astrophysicist, presented their findings. "The Zirconian ship is unlike anything we've ever seen," Aisha explained, projecting a 3D model of the alien craft. "Its hull is composed of an alloy that absorbs our most powerful weapons, but they're nothing more than pebbles." "That has to be a weakness," Lyra insisted. "Everything has a flaw." A young engineer named Carlos spoke up. "What if we don't need to destroy their ship? What if we could hijack it instead?" All eyes turned to Carlos as he continued, his excitement growing. "Their communication systems operate on quantum entanglement principles. If we could isolate the frequency they're using, we might be able to insert our own commands." Laura leaned forward, hope kindling in her chest. How long would it take to develop something like that? Carlos exchanged glances with Aisha. "With a team working around the clock, maybe 48 hours. "You have 24, Laura said. "The fate of humanity depends on it." As the scientists and engineers set to work, Laura coordinated with military leaders worldwide. They needed to buy time, to make the Zirconians believe that Earth was struggling to mount a unified defense. The next day, as the aliens' deadline approached, Laura stood before the United Nations General Assembly. Her words were broadcast to every corner of the globe. "People of Earth, we face the greatest threat in our history. The Zirconians believe us weak, divided, and easily conquered. They are wrong. Throughout our history, humanity has thrived in the face of adversity. Our strength lies not in our weapons, but in our spirit, our creativity, and our unwavering will to survive." She paused, her gaze sweeping across the assembly. "I call upon every nation, every person, to stand united. We will not bow to tyranny. We will not surrender our home. We are humanity, and we will prevail." Cheers erupted from the assembly, echoing around the world. As Laura stepped down from the podium, Marcus approached with urgent news. "Commander, the Zarkonians are making their move. They've launched attacks on military installations across the globe." Lyra's expression hardened. "Then it's time we show them what humanity is truly capable of." As chaos erupted across the planet, a small team led by Carlos and Aisha worked tirelessly in their underground lab. They had one shot to turn the tide of this war, one chance to prove that humanity's ingenuity could overcome even the most advanced alien technology. In New York, Laura watched as Zarkonian fighters streaked across the sky, their energy weapons carving swaths of destruction through the city. But even as buildings crumbled and panic spread, she saw something else. Humans helping each other, strangers becoming heroes in the face of annihilation. Her communicator buzzed. It was Carlos. "Commander, we've done it. We're ready to execute the plan." Lyra allowed herself a small smile. The real battle was about to begin, and humanity would show the Zarkonians that they had made a grave mistake in underestimating the resourcefulness and determination of the human spirit. As the first part of our story concludes, the stage is set for an epic confrontation. Humanity, led by the brilliant and determined Commander Lyra Zong, stands on the brink of either total subjugation or an astounding victory against overwhelming odds. The Zarkonians are about to learn that conquering Earth will be far more challenging than they ever imagined. The plan was audacious, bordering on insanity. But in the face of alien invasion and impending doom, insanity might just be humanity's salvation. Commander Lyra Zong stood in the heart of the makeshift command center, surrounded by a cacophony of urgent voices and blinking screens. The Zarkonian assault had intensified, their energy weapons decimating Earth's major cities with terrifying precision. "Status report," Lyra demanded, her voice cutting through the chaos. Marcus, his face haggard from sleepless nights, responded quickly. "We've lost contact with London and Beijing. Tokyo is holding on, but barely. Our conventional weapons are useless against their shields." Lyra's jaw tightened. They were running out of time. "What's the status on Carlos and Aisha's project?" As if on cue, the door burst open, and Carlos rushed in, his eyes wild with excitement. "Commander, we're ready. We've isolated the quantum frequency the Zarkonians are using for ship-to-ship communication." Aisha followed close behind, her normally composed demeanor replaced by nervous energy. "We've developed a virus that can infiltrate their systems. If it works, we should be able to temporarily disable their weapons and shields." Lyra's heart raced. This was the moment they'd been waiting for. "How do we deploy it?" Carlos held up a small, unremarkable-looking device. "This transmitter can broadcast the virus, but we need to get close to their mothership, really close." A heavy silence fell over the room. Getting anywhere near the Zarkonian mothership seemed like a suicide mission. Lyra made her decision. "I'll do it." Protests erupted from her team, but she silenced them with a raised hand. "This is our only shot. I won't ask anyone else to take this risk." As preparations were made, Lyra recorded a message to be broadcast worldwide if the mission failed. She spoke of hope, of the indomitable human spirit, and of the bravery of those who fought against impossible odds. Hours later, Lyra found herself in the cockpit of Earth's most advanced stealth jet, the transmitter securely fastened beside her. As she saw through the war-torn skies of New York, the massive Zarkonian mothership loomed before her, a dark colossus against the flames of the burning city. "I'm approaching the target," Lyra reported, her voice steady despite the fear clawing at her insides. "Activating stealth systems." The jet's experimental cloaking technology engaged, rendering her virtually invisible to the alien sensors. It was untested against Zarkonian tech, but it was the best chance they had. As Lyra maneuvered closer to the mothership, she could see the devastating power of the alien weapons. Beams of searing energy lanced from the ship, reducing skyscrapers to rubble in seconds. "Almost in range," she muttered, more to herself than to the anxious team listening back at base. The transmitter beside her hung to life, ready to unleash humanity's digital weapon. Suddenly, alarms blared in the cockpit. "They've detected me," Lyra shouted, throwing the jet into a barrel roll as energy beams sliced through the air around her. "Abort the mission." Marcus's panicked voice crackled through the comm. "Get out of there." But Lyra gritted her teeth, pushing the jet to its limits. "Negative. We won't get another chance at this," preparing to transmit the virus. The mothership filled her view, its obsidian surface reflecting the destruction below. Lyra's fingers flew over the controls, dodging a relentless barrage of alien fire. She was close now, so close. Transmitting virus, now. The small device beside her erupted in a cascade of light and sound. For a heart-stopping moment, nothing happened. Then, like a wave of invisible energy, something rippled across the surface of the Zarkonian ship. The alien vessel shuddered, its weapons falling silent. Smaller crafts surrounding it began to drift aimlessly, their power seemingly cut. It worked. Aisha's jubilant voice filled the cockpit. "Their systems are crashing." But Lyra had no time to celebrate. With the last of her jet's power, she veered away from the disabled mothership, smoke trailing from her engines. "I've taken heavy damage," she reported. "Controls are failing. I'm going to have tow." Her words were cut short as the jet plummeted toward the Hudson River. Lyra fought with the unresponsive controls, using every ounce of her pilot's training to guide the doomed craft. The impact was brutal. Water rushed in as Lyra struggled with her harness. Her lungs burned, vision blurring as she fought to escape the sinking jet. Just as darkness began to close in, strong arms wrapped around her, pulling her to the surface. Lyra gasped for air, coughing and sputtering. Through blurred vision, she saw her rescuer, a young woman in civilian clothes, her face streaked with grime and determination. "Hang on, Commander," the woman said, swimming them both toward the shore. "The whole world saw what you did up there. You've given us a fighting chance." As they reached the riverbank, Lyra saw crowds gathering, cheering and waving. In the sky above, the massive Zarkonian ship drifted impotently, its fearsome weapons silenced. Lyra struggled to her feet, leaning on her rescuer for support. She looked out at the battered but unbroken city, at the faces filled with newfound hope, and allowed herself a small smile. "The fight's not over," she said, her voice hoarse but resolute. "But now they know. Earth isn't going down without one hell of a fight." As news of the Zarkonian ship's vulnerability spread, a surge of global unity swept across the planet. Humanity had tasted its first victory, but the war was far from over. The disabled alien vessels were temporary prizes, their secrets waiting to be unlocked by Earth's scientists. In the days following the daring attack on the Zarkonian mothership, Earth experienced a whirlwind of activity. The disabled alien vessels became the focal point of humanity's efforts, with scientists and engineers from around the world working tirelessly to unlock their secrets. Commander Lyra Zong, still recovering from her injuries, found herself at the center of a storm of global attention. Her successful mission had transformed her into a symbol of hope and resistance. But as she stood before a hastily assembled council of world leaders, she knew that the real challenges were only beginning. "The virus worked better than we could have hoped," Lyra explained, gesturing to a holographic display of the dormant Zarkonian fleet. "But it's only a matter of time before they find a way to counteract it. We need to act fast." Dr. Aisha Patel stepped forward, her eyes bright with excitement despite the dark circles beneath them. "We've made significant progress in understanding their technology. The quantum entanglement drives that power their ships. They're beyond anything we theorized, but we think we can replicate them." A murmur of astonishment rippled through the assembled leaders. "How long?" Lyra asked, her mind already racing with possibilities. Aisha exchanged a glance with Carlos, who nodded encouragingly. "With global cooperation and resources, we might have a prototype in a month." The Russian president leaned forward, his brow furrowed. "And weapons? Can we adapt their energy weapons to our own use? We're working on it, Carlos interjected, but defense should be our priority. If we can shield our cities from their attacks, we buy ourselves more time. Lyra nodded in agreement. We need to fortify our positions and prepare for their counterattack. They won't take this defeat lightly. As if on cue, alarms blared throughout the facility. Marcus burst into the room, his face pale. Commander, we're detecting massive energy signatures approaching Earth. It's another fleet, much larger than the first. The room erupted in panic, but Lyra's voice cut through the chaos. This is what we've prepared for. Initiate Operation Aegis, get our people to the shelters, and someone get me in contact with the Zarkonian command. Hours later, in the command center, as medics tended to her injuries, Lyra already began planning the next phase of Earth's resistance. The Zarkonians had underestimated humanity's resourcefulness and determination. Now, it was time to show them the full extent of their mistake. The counterattack had begun, and with it, a new chapter in human history was being written, one of courage, innovation, and the unbreakable spirit of a species fighting for its very existence. Hours later, as the new Zarkonian fleet entered Earth's orbit, an eerie calm settled over the planet. In underground bunkers and hastily constructed shelters, billions held their breath, waiting for the hammer to fall. Lyra stood in the heart of a repurposed Zarkonian shuttle, surrounded by a team of Earth's brightest minds. The ship hummed with alien energy, a testament to how quickly humanity had adapted to the new technology. With being hailed, Marcus reported, his fingers dancing over the alien controls. Lyra steeled herself, put them through. A holographic image flickered to life, revealing a Zarkonian for the first time. The alien was tall and lithe, with iridescent scales and 4 arms. Its eyes, multifaceted like an insect's, seemed to bore into Lyra's soul. I am High Commander Zexlor of the Zarkonian Empire. The alien's voice reverberated through the shuttle. Your resistance is impressive, but futile. Surrender now, and we may yet show mercy. Lyra stepped forward, her chin held high. This is Commander Lyra Zong of Earth. We've seen your kind of mercy, Zexlor. We choose to fight. The alien's mandibles clicked in what might have been amusement. You've had your small victory, human. But look to your skies. Our armada will blot out your sun. What hope do you have? A small smile played on Lyra's lips. Hope is what we do best. She nodded to Aissa, who activated a hidden command sequence. Across the globe, in every major city and strategic location, energy shields shimmered into existence. The fruits of humanity's frantic research and reverse engineering efforts were revealed. Zexlor's compound eyes widened in shock. Impossible. You couldn't have mastered our shield technology so quickly. You should have done your homework, Zexlor, Lyra said, her voice filled with quiet pride. Adapting, overcoming, innovating, it's what humans do. You thought us primitive, but we've turned your own weapons against you. As if to punctuate her words, a barrage of energy beams lanced out from Earth's surface, striking the Zarkonian fleet with pinpoint accuracy. Dozens of alien ships erupted in flames, their debris scattering across the orbit. This is your final warning, Lyra continued, her eyes never leaving Zexlor's alien features. Leave our solar system, or face annihilation. The Zarkonian commander's mandibles quivered with rage. You dare threaten the might of the Empire. We will reduce your world to ash. The transmission cut off abruptly. Moments later, the sky lit up with the fury of 1,000 suns as the Zarkonian fleet opened fire. But the expected devastation never came. Earth's shields held firm, absorbing and dissipating the alien onslaught. From the surface, humanity's newfound weapons returned fire, their accuracy guided by AI systems that learned and adapted with each passing second. In the command shuttle, Lyra watched the battle unfold with a mixture of awe and trepidation. Status report, she demanded. Carlos, his eyes glued to a holographic display, responded breathlessly. Shields are holding at 89% capacity. Our weapons are inflicting significant damage, but their numbers are overwhelming. Aisha interjected, her voice tight with excitement. Commander, the quantum drive prototype is ready. If we can get close enough to their command ship, we might be able to disrupt their entire fleet's coordination. Laura's mind raced through the possibilities. It was a risky plan, but they were running out of options. Do it, she ordered. Plot a course for the heart of their fleet. As the stolen Zarkonian shuttle surged forward, weaving through a maelstrom of energy beams and explosions, Laura couldn't help but reflect on the incredible journey that had brought them to this point. In mere weeks, humanity had gone from near helpless victims to standing toe-to-toe with an interstellar empire. The shuttle shuddered as enemy fire grazed their shields. Ahead, the massive bulk of the Zarkonian command ship loomed, a city-sized leviathan bristling with weapons. "We're in range," Aisha shouted over the din of battle, activating the quantum disruptor now. A pulse of invisible energy radiated from the shuttle, rippling through space. For a moment, nothing seemed to happen. Then, like dominoes falling, the Zarkonian ships began to falter. Their coordinated attacks devolved into chaos, ships colliding with one another as their navigation systems failed. "It worked," Carlos exclaimed, his eyes wide with disbelief. "Their entire command structure is collapsing." Lyra allowed herself a moment of elation before snapping back into commander mode. "Send the signal. All Earth forces, press the attack. Don't let up until they're out of our system." What followed was a rout of epic proportions. The once mighty Zarkonian armada, stripped of its technological advantage and strategic coordination, fell before the combined might of Earth's defenders. Ships fled in disarray, those that could still navigate jumping to faster-than-light speeds to escape the fury of the planet they had so grievously underestimated. As the last of the alien vessels disappeared from their sensors, a deafening cheer erupted through the command shuttle. Tears of joy and relief flowed freely as the realization set in they had won. Lyra slumped into her chair, exhaustion finally catching up with her. She looked around at the faces of her team, human faces that had accomplished the impossible. "We did it," she breathed, a smile breaking through her fatigue. "We actually did it." As news of the victory spread across the globe, celebrations erupted in every corner of the world. Humanity had faced its greatest challenge and emerged not just victorious, but transformed. The secrets of the stars were now within their grasp, and the future stretched out before them, filled with limitless possibilities. But even as the celebrations raged, Lyra knew that this was just the beginning. The Zarkonians would be back, and there were likely other threats lurking in the vast expanse of space. Earth would need to be ready. As she gazed out at the star-studded sky, no longer a gulf of impossibility, but a sea of opportunity, Lyra made a silent vow. Humanity would not merely survive among the stars, they would thrive, and any power that dared to threaten their home would learn, as the Zarkonians had, the true cost of underestimating the human spirit. The dawn of a new era had arrived, and humanity was ready to take its place among the cosmos. The weeks following humanity's victory over the Zarkonian Empire were a whirlwind of activity. As the dust settled and the immediate threat receded, Earth found itself grappling with a new reality, one where humans were no longer alone in the universe, and where the stars themselves were suddenly within reach. Commander Lyra Zong stood at the podium, facing a sea of reporters from every corner of the globe. The United Nations General Assembly Hall buzzed with anticipation. "Today," Lyra began, her voice steady and clear, "we stand at a crossroads. The Zarkonian invasion, while devastating, has opened doors we never imagined possible. We have glimpsed the vastness of the cosmos and the wonders and dangers it holds. Now we must decide, what kind of interstellar species do we want to be?" The question hung in the air, heavy with implications. In the front row, Dr. Aisha Patel and Carlos exchanged meaningful glances. They, along with countless other scientists and engineers, had been working around the clock to unravel the secrets of Zarkonian technology. Lyra continued, her words carefully chosen. We have formed the Earth Defense and Exploration Initiative. Its mission is twofold: to protect our planet from future threats and to reach out into the stars not as conquerors, but as explorers and peacekeepers. A murmur rippled through the audience. The idea of humans as a spacefaring civilization was no longer science fiction, it was their new reality. But we face challenges, Lyra cautioned. The Zarkonians will return, and they may not be the only hostile force out there. We must be vigilant, united, and above all, we must not lose sight of what makes us human: our compassion, our creativity, and our unbreakable spirit. As Lyra fielded questions from the press, on the other side of the world, a different kind of meeting was taking place. In a secure facility built into the side of a mountain, Marcus led a team of international diplomats toward a heavily guarded chamber. "Are you sure about this?" one of the diplomats asked, nervousness evident in his voice. Marcus nodded grimly. "Commander Zhang believes it's necessary. If we're going to survive out there, we need to understand our enemies and potential allies." The chamber door slid open with a hiss, revealing a sight that still sent shivers down Marcus's spine. Suspended in a containment field, looking somehow both majestic and pitiful, was High Commander Zexlor of the Zarkonian Empire. The alien's multifaceted eyes swiveled towards the group. "Have you come to gloat, humans?" Zexlor's voice was a mix of clicks and subharmonics, translated by the advanced systems reverse-engineered from Zarkonian tech. A seasoned diplomat stepped forward, her posture rigid but her voice level. "We've come to talk, High Commander, about the future, yours and ours." Meanwhile, high above the Earth's surface, Aisha and Carlos floated in microgravity, their faces illuminated by the soft glow of holographic displays. Around them, the International Space Station had been transformed, Zarkonian technology seamlessly integrated with human ingenuity. "The quantum drive is stable," Aisha reported, her eyes gleaming with excitement. "We could reach Mars in hours, Alpha Centauri in weeks." Carlos nodded, his fingers dancing over the controls. "The real question is, where do we go first?" Their conversation was interrupted by a priority alert. Aisha's brow furrowed as she read the incoming data. "Carlos, are you seeing this? These readings, they're not Zarkonian." Carlos leaned in, his expression morphing from curiosity to concern. "No, they're not, and they're coming from just beyond the orbit of Neptune." Back on Earth, as Lyra concluded her press conference, an aide rushed to her side, whispering urgently in her ear. Her eyes widened almost imperceptibly before she composed herself. "Thank you all for your time," she said to the assembled press, her tone betraying nothing of the storm brewing inside her. "That will be all for now." As soon as she was off stage, Lyra broke into a run, Marcus falling into step beside her. "How bad is it?" she asked. "Unknown," Marcus replied, his voice tense. "But it's big, and it's not Zarkonian. The quantum sensors Aisha installed are going haywire." Lyra's mind raced. They had barely caught their breath from the last invasion, and now this. But as the initial shock wore off, she felt something else rising within her, a fierce determination tinged with curiosity. "Assemble the council," she ordered as they hurried toward the command center. "And get me a direct line to the ISS. Whatever's coming, we'll face it together." As alerts began to sound in military installations across the globe, as scientists pored over the mysterious readings, and as world leaders convened in emergency sessions, a new chapter in human history was about to unfold. The victory over the Zarkonians had been a baptism by fire, transforming humanity into a fledgling interstellar civilization. Now, they would be tested again. But this time, Earth was ready. United by their shared trial, armed with technology beyond their wildest dreams, and driven by an indomitable spirit of exploration and survival, humanity stood poised on the brink of a new age. Whatever challenges the universe had in store, they would face them head-on. As Lyra strode into the bustling command center, her voice rang out clear and strong. "All right, people, let's show the cosmos what humanity is really made of." The stars beckoned, full of both promise and peril, and humanity, eyes wide open and spirits unbroken, was ready to answer the call. As Lyra fielded questions from the press, on the other side of the world, a different kind of meeting was taking place. In a secure facility built into the side of a mountain, Marcus led a team of international diplomats toward a heavily guarded chamber. "Are you sure about this?" one of the diplomats asked, nervousness evident in his voice. Marcus nodded grimly. "Commander Zhang believes it's necessary. If we're going to survive out there, we need to understand our enemies and potential allies." The chamber door slid open with a hiss, revealing a sight that still sent shivers down Marcus's spine. Suspended in a containment field, looking somehow both majestic and pitiful, was High Commander Zexlor of the Zarkonian Empire. The alien's multifaceted eyes swiveled towards the group. "Have you come to gloat, humans?" Zexlor's voice was a mix of clicks and subharmonics, translated by the advanced systems reverse-engineered from Zarkonian tech. A seasoned diplomat stepped forward, her posture rigid but her voice level. "We've come to talk, High Commander, about the future, yours and ours." Meanwhile, high above the Earth's surface, Aisha and Carlos floated in microgravity, their faces illuminated by the soft glow of holographic displays. Around them, the International Space Station had been transformed, Zarkonian technology seamlessly integrated with human ingenuity. "The quantum drive is stable," Aisha reported, her eyes gleaming with excitement. "We could reach Mars in hours, Alpha Centauri in weeks." Carlos nodded, his fingers dancing over the controls. "The real question is, where do we go first?" Their conversation was interrupted by a priority alert. Aisha's brow furrowed as she read the incoming data. "Carlos, are you seeing this? These readings, they're not Zarkonian." Carlos leaned in, his expression morphing from curiosity to concern. "No, they're not, and they're coming from just beyond the orbit of Neptune." Back on Earth, as Lyra concluded her press conference, an aide rushed to her side, whispering urgently in her ear. Her eyes widened almost imperceptibly before she composed herself. "Thank you all for your time," she said to the assembled press, her tone betraying nothing of the storm brewing inside her. "That will be all for now." As soon as she was off stage, Lyra broke into a run, Marcus falling into step beside her. "How bad is it?" she asked. "Unknown," Marcus replied, his voice tense. "But it's big, and it's not Zarkonian. The quantum sensors Aisha installed are going haywire." Lyra's mind raced. They had barely caught their breath from the last invasion, and now this. But as the initial shock wore off, she felt something else rising within her, a fierce determination tinged with curiosity. "Assemble the council," she ordered as they hurried toward the command center. "And get me a direct line to the ISS. Whatever's coming, we'll face it together." As alerts began to sound in military installations across the globe, as scientists pored over the mysterious readings, and as world leaders convened in emergency sessions, a new chapter in human history was about to unfold. The victory over the Zarkonians had been a baptism by fire, transforming humanity into a fledgling interstellar civilization. Now they would be tested again. But this time, Earth was ready. United by their shared trial, armed with technology beyond their wildest dreams, and driven by an indomitable spirit of exploration and survival, humanity stood poised on the brink of a new age. Whatever challenges the universe had in store, they would face them head-on. As Lyra strode into the bustling command center, her voice rang out clear and strong. "All right, people, let's show the cosmos what humanity is really made of." The stars beckoned, full of both promise and peril, and humanity, eyes wide open and spirits unbroken, was ready to answer the mood in the Earth Defense and Exploration Initiative's command center was tense but focused. Holographic displays flickered with a constant stream of data, painting a picture of the unknown entity approaching from the outer reaches of the solar system. Commander Lyra Zhang stood at the center of the storm, her eyes darting between redouts as she issued a steady stream of orders. I want our new quantum sensors at maximum sensitivity. If this thing so much as hiccups, I want to know about it. Dr. Aisha Patel's voice crackled over the comms from the Enhanced International Space Station. Commander, we're picking up some sort of signal. It's not like anything we've seen before, not even Zarkonian tech. Lyra's brow furrowed. Can you decode it? Working on it, Carlos chimed in, but it's going to take time. This isn't just an alien language, it's an alien form of communication altogether. As the tension mounted, Marcus approached Lyra, his expression grim. Commander, the Security Council is demanding answers. They want to know if we should be preparing for another invasion. Lyra took a deep breath, weighing her options. The last thing Earth needed was panic, but they couldn't afford to be caught off guard either. Tell them we're monitoring the situation closely. Advise increased alertness, but stress that we have no evidence of hostile intent yet. Just then, a junior analyst called out, her voice tinged with excitement and fear. Commander. The object, it's changing course. It's heading directly for Earth. The command center erupted into controlled chaos. Lyra's voice cut through the noise. Battle stations. I want our planetary shields at full power and our fleet on standby. But do not, I repeat, do not engage unless fired upon. As Earth's defenses sprang to life, a new voice joined the fray. High Commander Zexlor, still under guard, but now serving as a reluctant advisor, clicked his mandibles thoughtfully. Curious. This approach, it's not a Zarkonian attack pattern, nor does it match any of our known rivals. Lyra turned to the alien, her eyes narrowing. What are you thinking, Zexlor? The Zarkonian's compound eyes seemed to shimmer. I'm thinking, Commander Zhang, that you humans are about to face something truly unknown, even to us. As the mysterious object drew closer, its true nature became apparent. It wasn't a ship, at least not in any conventional sense. It was a swirling mass of energy and matter, constantly shifting and reforming. My God, Aisha breathed, her voice filled with awe. It's some kind of living spaceship. The entire structure is organic. Lyra's mind raced. All of their preparations, all of the technology they'd adapted from the Zarkonians, none of it had prepared them for this. But as she looked around at the determined faces of her team, she felt a surge of pride. Humanity had faced the impossible before and triumphed. They would do so again. Aisha, Carlos, she called out. I need options. How do we communicate with this thing? The two scientists exchanged glances, their minds already racing with possibilities. We could try modulating our quantum field to match its energy signature, Carlos suggested. It might interpret that as an attempt at communication. Do it, Lyra ordered. Then, turning to the rest of her team, this is first contact, people. Let's show this entity, whatever it is, the best of humanity. As Carlos and Aisha worked feverishly to establish contact, the organic ship came to a stop just beyond the moon's orbit. For several tense minutes, nothing happened. Then suddenly, every screen in the command center lit up with a cascade of complex, swirling patterns. It's responding, Aisha shouted, her fingers flying over her console. The patterns, their thoughts, pure conceptual language. Lyra leaned forward, her heart pounding. Can we understand it? Carlos nodded slowly, his eyes wide with wonder. I think so. It's greeting us. And, oh my. What? Lyra demanded. What's it saying? Carlos looked up, his face a mixture of awe and disbelief. It's saying, well done, young ones. You have passed the first test. A hushed silence fell over the command center. Lyra's mind reeled with the implications. Test? What test? As if in response to her unspoken question, the alien patterns shifted again. Aisha translated in real time, her voice trembling slightly. The Zarkonian invasion, it wasn't random. It was a test set up by a galactic council of elder races to see if we were ready. Lyra felt a surge of anger. Ready? Ready for what? Millions died in that invasion. The response came swiftly, the alien thoughts conveying a sense of both regret and necessity. Ready to join them, Carlos translated, ready to take our place among the stars. As the full impact of this revelation washed over them, Lyra realized that humanity stood on the brink of something far greater than they had ever imagined. The defeat of the Zarkonians hadn't just been a victory for Earth, it had been an audition for a cosmic stage. They're inviting us to join them, as she said, her voice filled with wonder. To learn, to explore the galaxy. But also what? Lyra prompted. To help defend it, Carlos finished. Apparently, there are threats out there that make the Zarkonians look like a warm-up. Lyra took a deep breath, feeling the weight of this moment in history. Humanity had not only survived its trial by fire, but had exceeded all expectations. Now, they were being offered a chance to become part of something greater, to explore wonders beyond their wildest dreams, and to face challenges that would test them in ways they couldn't yet imagine. She straightened her back, her voice strong and clear as she addressed her team, and through them, all of humanity. Send a message back. Tell them Earth accepts. We're ready to take our place among the stars. As the organic ship began to glow, preparing to escort Earth's representatives to meet the Galactic Council, Lyra couldn't help but smile. The Zarkonians had indeed learned a brutal lesson about underestimating humans. But more importantly, humanity had learned a powerful lesson about itself. They were not alone in the universe. They were not helpless, and they were ready for whatever the cosmos had in store. The next chapter of human history was about to be written, not on Earth, but among the stars. And Lyra Zhang, along with the rest of humanity, was ready to pick up the pen. The call, the journey to the heart of the galactic community was nothing short of miraculous. Commander Lyra Zhang, along with a carefully selected team of Earth's brightest minds, found themselves aboard the living ship, traveling at speeds that defied human comprehension. Stars blurred into streaks of light as they crossed vast cosmic distances in mere moments. As they traveled, their alien hosts, beings of pure energy who called themselves the Luminarians, shared knowledge that expanded the horizons of human understanding. The universe, they learned, was far more complex and wondrous than they had ever imagined. It's incredible, Dr. Aisha Patel breathed, her eyes wide as she absorbed the stream of information flowing directly into her mind. The fundamental laws of physics as we know them, they're just the surface. There are layers upon layers of reality we never even suspected. Carlos nodded, equally awestruck. And the diversity of life out there, it makes Earth look like a small pond in an ocean of possibilities. Lyra, while sharing her team's sense of wonder, couldn't shake a nagging concern. But why? She asked their Luminarian guide, a swirling vortex of light and color. Why test us with such a brutal invasion? Why not just make peaceful contact? The response came not in words, but in a series of impressions and concepts that unfolded in their minds. The galaxy, they learned, was a dangerous place. For every benevolent species, there were others driven by conquest and destruction. The test wasn't just about technological advancement or military prowess, it was about character, about how a species would react under extreme pressure. We needed to know, the Luminarian conveyed, if you would break under the weight of invasion, or if you would rise, adapt, and overcome. And more importantly, once you had the power to strike back, would you use it wisely or become conquerors yourselves? The implications were staggering. Humanity hadn't just defended itself, it had demonstrated its potential as a force for good in the galaxy. As their journey neared its end, the the team got their first glimpse of the galactic capital, a massive structure that defied easy description. It was part space station, part living organism, and part energy construct. Thousands of ships from countless civilizations swarmed around it like bees around a hive. Upon docking, Lyra and her team were ushered into a vast chamber filled with representatives from hundreds of alien species. Some were vaguely humanoid, others defied any earthly comparison. At the center of it all was a council of elder races, beings of such advanced evolution that merely looking at them was almost painful. A hush fell over the assembly as Lyra stepped forward. She felt the weight of humanity's future on her shoulders as she addressed the Galactic Council. Esteemed members of the galactic community, she began, her voice steady despite her racing heart. On behalf of Earth and all of humanity, I thank you for this opportunity. We come before you not just as survivors of your test, but as a species eager to learn, to contribute, and to stand alongside you in facing the challenges that threaten us all. A murmur of approval rippled through the chamber. One of the elder beings, a shimmering column of light, responded. Its words echoed in the minds of all present. Humanity has proven itself worthy, it proclaimed. Your resourcefulness, your adaptability, and your indomitable spirit have impressed even the oldest among us. But with great potential comes great responsibility. Are you prepared for the trials that lie ahead? Lyra stood tall, her resolve unshakable. Earth has faced extinction and emerged stronger. We've turned alien technology against our invaders and reached the stars in a fraction of the time it should have taken. Whatever challenges the universe has in store, humanity is ready to face them. The chamber erupted in a chorus of alien voices, some cheering, others debating fiercely. Finally, the council reached a decision. Very well, the elder being announced. Humanity is hereby granted full membership in the Galactic Federation. You will be given access to our shared knowledge, our technologies, and our resources. In return, we ask for your assistance in maintaining peace and confronting the darkness that threatens to engulf us all. As the assembly concluded, Lyra and her team found themselves surrounded by curious alien diplomats, eager to learn more about the species that had so quickly risen from planetary isolation to galactic player. Amidst the excitement, Lyra felt a tap on her shoulder. She turned to find herself face to face with a familiar figure, High Commander Zexlor of the Zarkonians. Commander Zhang, Zexlor clicked, his mandibles twitching in what Lyra had learned was a sign of respect. It seems I owe you and your species an apology. We gravely underestimated you. Lyra nodded, a small smile playing on her lips. A mistake I hope won't be repeated, High Commander. Perhaps now we can work together instead of against each other. As Zexlor nodded in agreement, Lyra couldn't help but marvel at how far they'd come. From mortal enemies to potential allies, all in the span of a few months. The journey back to Earth was filled with plans and preparations. There was so much to do, new technologies to implement, galactic diplomacy to navigate, and a planet to prepare for its new role on the cosmic stage. As the living ship approached Earth, Lyra gazed out at the blue marble that was her home. It looked both fragile and resilient, a perfect representation of humanity itself. What now, Commander? Essa asked, joining her at the viewport. Lyra's eyes sparkled with determination and excitement. Now we take everything we've learned, everything we've become, and we build a future worthy of the trust the galaxy has placed in us. We've been given an incredible opportunity, and we're going to make the most of it. As they descended towards a world forever changed, Lyra knew that this was just the beginning. Humanity had proven its worth among the stars, but the real work was just beginning. There would be challenges ahead, threats to face, and wonders to explore. But whatever the galaxy had in store, Earth would face it united, resilient, and unafraid. They had stared into the face of extinction and not only survived but thrived. They had taken the brutal lesson meant to test them and turned it into the key to the cosmos. The age of Earth's isolation was over. The age of humanity among the stars had begun, and the galaxy would never be the same again.